Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. So a few days ago at work, we were talking about like our biggest insecurities and stuff, and I was saying how one of my biggest insecurities is my under eyes. I'm so insecure about them. They're like my biggest insecurity. They're the one thing that when it comes to my makeup that I do not play. Like I will use the same concealers and powders over and over and over and over and over again just to make my under eyes look brighter and perfect and to cover up those dark circles. My dark circles aren't as bad as what they used to be, but they are pretty sunken in. So when I turn, you can see like the bags right here. And that just like, I feel like draws so much attention to my eyes and just makes me like super insecure. So I was thinking, I was like, I'm probably not the only one that has super dark like under eyes or wants to cover them really well. So I wanted to do a video with you guys going step by step on how I achieve like a perfect under eye with like covering my dark circles, making them look brighter but not making them look gray, because you know that can happen sometimes. So that is what today's video is going to be. I'm going to show you guys how I conceal and brighten and make my under eyes look just not like how they look right now. So if you guys are interested, go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's jump into concealing these under eyes. I've just come to accept that this is what God gave me. This is what we're working with. Like, we just gotta make the best of the situation, right? So for when I'm going out or when I really need my under eyes not to be puffy, to be bright, to be refreshed, I always, first of all, I always hydrate. Like I'm always drinking water. I always have water with me, and I've noticed that when I don't drink as much water, like let's say yesterday I didn't drink a lot of water, today I would have woken up with really puffy, like darker under eyes, even if I slept 10 hours. So definitely hydrate. Please hydrate. That's gonna be like key when it comes to anything with your skin, but especially with your under eyes. Okay, now we can continue. So what I start with first is I will go in with a cooling under eye patch. So this is from Milk Makeup. This is the cooling water eye patches. These are no joke. These are no effing joke. When I'm tired or when I know that I'm gonna be out and I want I just want to look awake, this is what I'm using. I do keep mine in the fridge so that they are extra cool. They're cool on their own, but like putting them in the fridge, you're going to get that extra sense of cool. So this is what they look like. So I'm going to start, kind of just like go right here and then just bring it up. So it is kind of uncomfortable at first because I put them kind of high to really like cool my under eyes. I'm going to do the other side. Okay, so now that they're on, it says to, I think, leave them on for 15 minutes. What does it say? Yeah, 10 to 15 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week. So I'm going to leave them on for 10 to 15 minutes, but what I do in the meantime, I will go ahead and do my eyeshadow. So today I'm not going to do anything crazy. So while this sits under here, I go ahead and work on my eyeshadow because kill two bows. Oh my God, what is going on with me right now? Let's reset. I do my eyeshadow while this is sitting here doing its thing, so I can kill two birds with one stone. That's what I was trying to say. Somebody was trying to unplug me and glitch me out. Oh. Since this video is mainly focusing on the under eyes, I'm going to do a little bit of eyeshadow off camera, and then I'll come back once these are ready to come off, and then we will continue to go through the motions. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I just did a little bit of like matte eyeshadow just to kill some time. So it's been about 12 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and remove them. Oh, you guys don't understand how refreshed my under eyes feel. Look at that eye. Like it just looks, without really doing much, it just looks like, like I'm awake, like I'm here, like, okay, like let's get the day started. Like, oh, they just look so good now. Before I move on to foundation, I'm going to take my Charlotte Tilbury Under Eye Corrector, and I'm going to take a little bit on a brush, and I'm just going to focus it like right in there. Nothing too crazy. I'm going to pick some up on this brush and just get like right there. You see how like I did just a little bit? That's going to just conceal and help brighten this part. Since this is where most of the hollow is of my eye, I'm just going to cover right there to help brighten it. Do you see the difference? Like look at this eye versus this eye. You can definitely see a big difference. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to the other eye. Like I said, you don't need much of it. I'm just coating this brush and just focusing it right there. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to foundation. I'm going to go in with my L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Foundation. Of course, you want your foundation to pretty much match your neck. You don't want to go in with too dark of a foundation because then that's going to look weird, and you don't want to go in with obviously too light of a foundation. So I'm just going to take my sponge, and this part I'm just going to quickly do. You guys have seen me do my foundation 100 times. One thing you want to make sure of is you don't want to bring your foundation underneath your eyes, because foundation is meant for your skin. So the skin that's underneath your eyes is a very, very thin layer of skin, which is why it's so easy to make your under eyes crease, make them look cakey if you go in with too much product in there. So if you want, like, the highest I'll bring it is probably where I put the brightener, so I'll meet it right there. But notice how I'm not going underneath my eye, because like I said, you do not want to bring foundation underneath your eyes, because it's just going to it's going to just void everything you're trying to do. You're trying to make your under eyes look bright and light and not hollow and conceal everything. And just by adding too much of like foundation and concealer, it's going to look so bad. I just did my contour quickly off camera because it's irrelevant to the video. So for concealer, I am a creature of habit. There are a ton that I like, but there's only a handful, maybe not even a handful. There's only like one or two that I love, like love, love, love. So in my opinion, you've got to find a good concealer. You definitely don't want to go in if you have like under eyes like me, where they're more like drier or they're more sunken in and deep. You don't want to go in with a thick concealer. I like to go in with a very like lightweight formula that almost feels like nothing, so that doesn't sit too heavy underneath my eyes. Like I said, my under eyes are the most important part of my makeup routine, and if you guys have been watching me for a while, then you obviously know what concealer I'm going to talk about. This is the Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer, the best lightweight concealer to really conceal your under eyes, but also make them look just bright without. It's literally the best concealer to ever exist. Long lasting, full coverage, lightweight, like everything you want in a concealer is right here. So what I like to do is I take 3 concealers actually. So I take 2 of this, and then I'll take the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin Concealer. So what I'll do is I use shade 0N and 1N. You want to almost match your foundation. So I know like back in the day, like 2016, 2015, it was all about brightening your under eyes. But you don't want to do that, because that's going to draw more attention to them. And in my opinion and in my experience, it makes my under eyes look more gray than bright, if that makes sense. Because I'm going in with such a brighter concealer than what my foundation is, that my under eyes are so dark, it's contrasting and making it look gray, which we don't want. We don't want to look gray, we want to look bright, but we also want to look relevant to our skin tone, if that makes sense. So you definitely don't want to go in with a brighter like concealer, maybe 1 shade like at most, but I pretty much keep it almost like identical to my foundation, because that's just how I like it. So what I'll do first is I'll take 0N and the Dior one, and I'll put a little bit right here and then a little bit right here. Notice how I'm just putting a little bit. You don't want to go under and then up, but you don't want to do too much. Less is definitely more when it comes to the under eyes. Trust me, I have learned my lessons multiple times. So make sure when you're doing your concealer, less is more for sure. So now I'm going to go in with the shade 1N, and I'm going to add a little bit. So as you can see, this one is a little bit more, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but let me zoom you in actually. The one I just added is a little bit more dark and a little bit more pinkier than the first one. So I'm just going to put some right here as well. Okay. And then I'm going to go in with the Makeup Forever one, which is in the shade 2.3. So this is, I think, the darkest one. I'm not sure, actually. And this is more of a little bit like of a yellow toned one. So, no, actually, it's more pinky. I don't know why I said yellow. All right, so we're going to just do that. So as you can see, there's barely any concealer under here. If this was me 4 or 5 years ago, I would have been like, how are we going to make this work? Like, I need more. Trust me. You do not need more. What I like to do now is I'll take my sponge and I'll take the applicator from one of the concealers and just coat my sponge, because I don't want to go in with a completely damp sponge with no product on it, because I don't want it to pick up the concealer and not blend it perfectly. So I've learned that by doing this little trick really quick, it helps make your concealer just blend flawlessly. So I'm going to go in now and I'm going to blend my concealer. I do use, oh my god, is there a dog hair on here? Of course there is. There's always a dog hair. I do use 2 different sponges for my concealer and foundation. You don't have to do that. That's really extra, but it's just what I like to do. Okay, so I'm just going back and forth. So the concealer is fully blended out. So what I'll do now is I'll take just like a brush like this, like a little domed brush, and just go in my inner corner just to make sure that it's all blended in perfectly. So now that our concealer is totally blended, the next most important part of your under eyes is a powder. Now, I don't care how good the concealer is, if you go in with a powder that doesn't mix well with the concealer, it's going to ruin everything. So typically I would use my Kylie loose translucent setting powder, but since you can no longer get that, I'm not going to use that on camera. I'm going to go ahead and use my Makeup Forever Ultra HD setting powder. To put about that much in the cap. So of course what you want to do first is you want to go back under, let me grab my mirror. You want to go back under your under eyes and just make sure that there are no creases, because we definitely do not want to set any creases. That is a big no-no on this channel. Now that our under eyes are totally just smooth and everything, I'm going to go ahead and take the powder on the back of my sponge and press it underneath my eyes. I still bake because I can't not bake. Like if I don't bake my under eyes, it's just going to be a hot, creasy mess before you know it. So I just always make sure that I bake. So while that's doing that, I'm going to take whatever is remaining in the cap, dust some off, and just kind of set little areas of my face. So while my under eyes are baking, I am quickly going to go ahead and do my brows off camera, and I'll be right back. Let this sit for about 5 to 6 minutes. I'm going to take my brush. I always take a pointy brush like this, just so we get right up in here and there's no issue. So I just go back and forth. I don't swipe away. I go back and forth like this, because since it was setting the concealer, you don't want to just go in and go like this, because in case the concealer is still kind of like wet or something, you don't want it to slip and slide around. So you just want to go back and forth just like this. What I always do is I'll go in with one of my sponges. I'm going to go in with the one I use for foundation, and I'll go back and forth underneath my eyes. Now keep in mind the sponge is still damp, but it's not soaked, so you can use it under, like on top of your makeup. So it's going back and forth. What this does is it helps me get rid of any extra powder that I couldn't get with the brush, and push in the powder and pick up any extra powder. I just said that. But yeah, you get what I'm saying. It just helps you really absorb any remaining powder that may be underneath your eyes, as well as press it in to the skin, which is what we want. I did my highlight, bronzer, and blush off camera. So now the last part to bright under eyes and perfect under eyes is a pressed powder. I swear by the Kylie You're Perfect powder. I wish I had something else to share with you guys, but unfortunately I don't. As you can see, it is well loved. She doesn't make this anymore since she like rebranded her brand. I really hope that she brings it back, even if it's reformulated or something, but this undertone, this tone is just so perfect. So what I'll do is, let me get this dog hair off my brush. I'll take that same brush that I used for wiping away the powder and go underneath my eyes with it. And it just really, as you can see, this side versus this side, brightens it, but not too much, but also blurs it, which is amazing. So I'm just going to do the same thing over here. Now I'm just going to go ahead and set my face with the setting spray. I'm going to use the Porefessional Super Setter by Benefit. So I just went ahead and did my hair quickly off camera, but that completes this video. My under eyes are so important to me, and I know that I'm not the only one that suffers with really bad, deep, sunken in, dark circles, all of that. So I really wanted to share my tips and tricks with you guys. I really hope this video helped you guys. These are all steps and products that I use all the time to really achieve like a brighter, perfect under eye. As you can see, my under eye and my foundation are pretty much the same color, just a little bit brighter, but overall the same, which is what you want in the end. But yeah, so that completes this video, you guys. Let me know down below if you guys suffer from dark circles and sunken in under eyes like me, and what your tips and tricks are, and what products you guys use and swear by. I would love to know. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Please do not forget to go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up and to subscribe, and I will hopefully catch you guys in my next video.